There was a time when mountain biking was simple. A bike, a trail, and maybe even a riding buddy who forgot his helmet or his shoes. There were no apps and no worries about firmware updates or batteries going dead during your ride. You just went out and rode your bike. But somewhere along the way, something's changed. When I bought the Trek Fuel EX 9.8 Gen 6, it felt like the future. Basically everything on it was carbon, with a suspension that practically anticipated what you were going to do next, and virtually everything on it was adjustable. But that technology from the future comes with a steep learning curve. Setting this bike up to my liking took several hours, 3 YouTube videos, and a level of patience I usually reserve for putting together IKEA furniture. And even with all of that, there were still things I had to figure out on my own over the next few months. I used to twist one knob on my fork and call it good. Now I've got settings and adjustments for a whole lot of different things, and a migraine. Don't get me wrong, this bike rips and I absolutely love riding it. It's capable of things I couldn't dream of doing on my old bike. It climbs like a billy goat and descends like it's glued to the dirt. But sometimes it all just seems too easy. The connection between rider and trail that modern bikes have just seems to smooth everything out. This bike knows what to do. I'm just here to provide moral support, and honestly, that makes me nostalgic for when skill mattered more than settings. My old 2018 Trek Fuel EX7 and I went through it all together. We became just like best friends. I've been through every bolt and bearing and forged an intimate relationship with that bike. I upgraded every major component at least once, some of them even twice. Heck, I've probably changed out that cheap press-fit bottom bracket 20 times, and every scratch on that bike tells part of our story together. That bike made me a mountain biker. It didn't have a carbon frame or wireless shifting, but it had heart and it had character. It rattled, it creaked, and it made me work for every mile. And in return, it taught me everything I know about riding and fixing what breaks. The new Fuel EX 9.8 is faster, nimbler, and capable of more in every measurable way. But that old one, it built the rider behind the handlebars, and no amount of newfangled technology can replace that. There's one thing the new tech hasn't made any easier, and that's the price tag. I picked up this Trek at a deep discount, but the funny thing is, the price dropped even more after I bought it. So yeah, I got a deal, just not the best one. And that's the thing, even discounted, this bike costs more than a used car. Mountain biking used to be about grabbing a bike, hooking up with your buddies, and going out and hitting the trails. These days, it seems like you need a line of credit and the latest smartphone just to be able to go ride. Don't get me wrong, I understand why bikes cost what they do. There's research, design, materials, technology, and it all adds up. But somewhere along the way, the gap between the everyday rider and the latest gear got a little too wide. The average Joe doesn't need carbon everything or electronic shifting. He just needs a bike that makes him want to go out there and ride. And maybe that's where I still fall on the spectrum. I appreciate the technology, but I miss the days when buying a new bike didn't require the advice of a financial agent. So after a year, here's where we're at. This bike's seen everything, from perfect flow to hike-a-bike nightmares. I've made a few changes, but I've still got a few more ideas in the works. The grips were the first thing to go. The second thing to go was the AXS pod shifter. And the third thing were those dang Code R brake levers. Are you sensing a theme yet? From day one, I struggled to make this cockpit feel comfortable. Those integrated bars look futuristic, but they're not friendly to adjustments. 27.5 millimeters of rise, a massive clown-like width of 820 millimeters, and a 45 millimeter stem. I cut them down to 780 millimeters early on, which helped, but the Code R brake levers were the most difficult thing for me to get used to. No matter what adjustment I tried, I couldn't get them comfortable. At wit's end, I finally swapped them for Code RSCs so I could actually cover the brakes with my fingers. And honestly, I sometimes think I should have gone up a frame size because the cockpit still feels a little cramped. I might try a longer stem eventually, but with this integrated setup, that means replacing the entire handlebar. So for now, I'll continue to feel just a little bit cramped. After flipping the Menolink a few times, I settled on the lower slacker setting, pedal strikes and all. I haven't replaced the stock saddle yet, but it's on the list. Let's just say by mile 15, it's less of a saddle and more of a lesson in humility. And my first actual purchase after buying this bike was an extra AXS battery, because nothing kills your ride faster than realizing your high-tech bike forgot to charge itself. So what do I like about this bike? Well, definitely the geometry and the suspension tune. The way it feels when I really start to push it. It's fast, it's flickable, and it makes me grin every time I drop in. So what don't I like about this bike? The headset creak that comes and goes, the derailleur cage that has a replacement cost that I don't want to talk about, and the paint. It scratches if you look at it wrong. Don't believe me? Go watch my ride wrap install video. I think what I miss most isn't the geometry of the old bikes. It's the simplicity. You didn't need a perfect setup or a suspension app to tell you how your ride felt. You just grabbed your bike, met up with a buddy, and hit the trail. But somewhere along the way, we traded spontaneity for setup guides and firmware updates. Progress has made mountain biking incredible, but it's also made it more complicated. These days, it feels like we spend more time prepping to ride than actually riding. I miss when a quick little tire squeeze and chain lube was all the prep you needed. Don't get me wrong, I love the tech, I really do. But I miss when our ride started with, "You ready?" instead of, "Hang on, let me check the app to make sure my battery's charged." And the good news? Well, the trails haven't changed, and the Hero dirt still smells the same after some rain. And that feeling you get when your back tire drifts through a corner? Well, that's still pure gold. The bikes got complicated, but the joy didn't. A year later, and this bike still blows me away. Not because it's perfect, but because it's mine. It's scratched, tuned, retuned, and finally feels like an extension of me. If your bike makes you want to ride, that's all that matters. Forget the numbers, forget the updates, and just go ride the dang thing. Because in the end, mountain biking doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to be fun. If you miss when mountain biking was simpler, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear the one thing you've changed in your bike that actually made it better. I'm Scott, and this is Walker's Wild. If you liked what you saw here, hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around for more mountain bike content just like this in the future. And I'll see you on the next one.